We are not doctors. Nothing in this podcast should be taken as medical advice. Consult your physician before starting any workout routine. This is the Martial Heart Podcast.
Hello, everybody. Hey, how are you? Welcome back. This is I guess we'll call it my first real episode after transferring over to Anchor or Spotify for podcasters. I don't know if I'm going to like it. I can always switch it to somebody else. But for now, this is where I'm going to do it. And guess what? I don't have a 15-minute time limit, so I can yak as long as I want. I don't know how long it's going to be. It'll probably still be a fairly short podcast because it takes me a while to work up enough of a rant to spend 30 minutes or more on this topic. But how's everybody doing? I'm fine. For the most part, I am fine. Actually, I'm not exaggerating. I'm not, just being silly. I do feel fairly well. I still have the chest pressure issues. And yes, look, I have more than one camera and it's working just fine. My laptop couldn't do that. So, yeah, new computer. I actually don't know how many it will run. It might run 4 or 5 cameras. Oh, this could be like Big Brother or something. Anyhow, I'm doing okay. I'm still dealing with chest pressure issues. And I'm kind of realizing that if I don't take care of the things that I need to take care of, like I need to make sure that I took my medication, I need to make sure that I'm eating regularly and eating properly, getting enough, calories and being hydrated and all of those things. And when I kind of fail in those areas, that's when I start to not feel that good. So I guess I'm not recovered enough to where I can just willy-nilly decide not to eat all day or whatever else. I'm sure the medication doesn't help in that regard because a lot of medications work better, your system absorbs them better and tolerates them better if you take them with food and things like that. So I don't read the labels. I just take them all at once. And I don't know which ones I'm supposed to take with food and which ones I'm supposed to not take with food. I just take a handful of pills and boop, do it. I'm done. And, but I am noticing that, yesterday we had to go out and do some shopping, doing your weekly grocery stuff. And I hadn't eaten all day, or I hadn't eaten in several hours. I can't remember which it was, but I got dizzy in the store, and it was very brief, and I didn't fall over or anything. I had a shopping cart that I was leaning against, and so nothing bad happened except for just for a brief moment I felt dizzy, and it wasn't dizzy enough where I felt like I was going to fall over or anything like that, but still dizziness. And I'm assuming it was the food issue where I hadn't eaten any time recently. And therefore my system was revolting. And I'm kind of, understanding that that's how it's working. The hydration is the same. I can always kind of feel in the afternoon that, wow, I really need to hydrate some more. I don't know if one of the medications makes me feel dehydrated or not. It may dehydration may be one of the causes or one of the side effects. I don't know. So I'm still trying to figure those things out. And sometimes I screw up and I don't pay attention to, hey, I should have been doing this. And silly little things like eating and drinking water. I have noticed as well that now that I'm back to a regular routine, and I'm at work every day during the week, I'm getting back into my same routines where I would just drink coffee all day. I drink a lot of coffee, and I'm supposed to be cutting back on that. And while I was home, I did cut back on it quite a lot. I drank a lot more water, a lot more fruit juice, and I drank less coffee. And I felt like absolute shit for several weeks. So it wasn't that hard for me to do it. But now that I'm fairly okay and I'm back to my regular work routine, I'm finding myself all of a sudden drinking another cup of coffee instead of, hey, I should be drinking water right now, or hey, I've got these fruit juices in my bag. I should maybe try one of those instead of sucking down caffeine coffee all day. So I have to get back on track with those things. I don't think it's having a negative effect on me other than maybe I'm not hydrating as well as I should, but I I think I don't feel as well maybe when that happens. I don't know. I feel better when I'm well hydrated. So I have to get back on track. But otherwise, I'm feeling pretty good. I have cardiac rehab tonight and tomorrow night. But tonight I will go back and do the cardiac rehab thing. I'll do the treadmill and some other machine. I haven't decided. I'm intimidated by the elliptical. I don't know if I would enjoy the elliptical. I don't know if I can do the elliptical, to be honest with you, because I have bum knee and a bum hip on opposite sides of my body. And when I watch people on the elliptical, I notice that their knees are kind of bent the whole time. It's not really like you're walking or running. You're sort of, at a constant bend. And I'm not sure how my knee or my hip are going to tolerate that. I'm going to have to try, though. But I don't know if it'll be tonight. I don't know if I'm brave enough. I'm going to have to work up to it, I think. But the whole hand bike thing, where you do that, I mean, I like that because it works my upper body, but not really that challenging. A lot of the things that I'm doing aren't challenging enough. And I'm getting comfortable with them. So when I was doing cardiac rehab the other day, my heart rate never went over 100. So I'm not benefiting from that at all, but everything was on the settings that they said they wanted me to have them on. And I don't know. We'll see. I need to boost it up a little bit, and I need to challenge myself a little more. I think I don't know. Maybe I'm not putting enough effort into it. I don't know. I can only put in the effort that they're giving me, though. They literally tell you, I want the machine set on this, and I want this reading over here to maintain this level. And so I don't have a whole lot of leeway with what I'm going to do. So we'll get that over with, and then I have more errands to run afterward. It's crazy. It's been a crazy few days, and I don't know if it's going to get better anytime soon. Hopefully it will, but things have been very hectic. There's been a lot going on, and there's been a lot of running around and taking care of things for people. And yeah, I kind of spent my this Saturday doing that, and went car shopping with my mom. That was fun. And picked out a car for them, which is nice. And it's being delivered. Actually, it was delivered, I don't know, a couple of hours ago, I think. Because they weren't done with it. It had just gotten off of the truck, literally just come off the truck. It still had the white vinyl stuff all over it that they put on it when they're hauling it on a truck. So we got that taken care of. And it's a nice, safe vehicle with all-wheel drive for wintertime adventures. And, there's been a lot of vehicle issues going on lately around here. So we're looking forward to those things being over with and not having to worry about vehicles for a while, unless I buy a boat. I don't think I'm going to buy a boat. I don't have a boat. Yeah, it's a running joke. Going to buy a boat. And I may have a truck that can actually tow a boat pretty soon. We'll see. Anyway, vehicle stuff. Everybody has to deal with it, and it's frustrating everybody. I hate going to the dealerships. They were pretty nice, though, at this one. I will say the last two that we went to, where we actually purchased vehicles, the last two times it happened, the people were really nice. They were really nice. But, that's not going to be the normal experience, I don't think. The audio adventures still ongoing, you'll notice. I don't know what you can see. I have it pretty dark. I have the picture pretty dark, so if you're watching this on YouTube or whatever, let me know if it's too dark. As far as everything, I know there's a light on me and there's light stuff behind me, but I don't know. I have a hard time, and it's just like the hearing thing. Um, I love it. I get online and I watch these videos, and they're gonna microphone A, microphone B. Let's test them against each other. This is what it sounds like, and a lot of the time I can't tell the difference at all because my hearing is so bad. But only for certain tones. My hearing is worse when it comes to the human voice. But yeah, so I can't say. And sometimes, depending on the brightness of your monitor or your phone or whatever, the screens are all going to look different as well. So on the video, I don't know. The average person watching it might think they can't even see what's going on. So I don't really know. Still working that out. But I do think we finally decided that we're going to move the studio into the other room and work on that project a little bit. I don't know when we're going to start. Probably soon. But it's just a matter of moving things around, and then of course trying to put up sound treatment stuff and doing that. So it'll take a little bit of time, but I think last night we decided that that's what we're going to do. And switching over to the Spotify thing, I don't know. Apparently, when you do that, like Spreaker, you can earn ad revenues like right from the beginning. As soon as you satisfy a couple of things, like you posted your second episode. It's because they want to make sure that you're still going to be around or whatever. And it only took like 2 weeks, and boom, I was able to monetize and earn ad revenue. But on the Spotify service, apparently you have to have like 1,000 unique views and all this other stuff before you can do it. So apparently not going to be earning any money on Spotify, not for a while, because I have like 4 listeners or something, and I think they're all related to me. But I don't know. It may never be monetized on Spotify. But on Spotify, I can also do video. So later today or whenever I'm done with this, I'm going to upload this video to Spotify, because you can do video podcasts on Spotify. But I hope they don't get mad, because I'm probably going to upload it to YouTube as well. But I think they will. YouTube is going to take the RSS feed and do an audio version. So it's going to kind of be the way it was in the beginning, where there was an audio one that would hit YouTube, and then I would go in and upload the video as well. And then there would be 2 versions of each episode. So people might start getting confused again, which is always fun. But I don't know, playing around with it. And it may never work. It may never go anywhere. But it's been a fun little adventure, and I'm really enjoying the whole equipment side of it. It's almost as bad as guns, because it's accessories, and you can accessorize things. And you have this caliber of microphone, so wait, you also need this other caliber of microphone. And then you can't just have one of this kind of microphone, because really they work better in pairs, like Old West 6-shooters. So you're going to need 2 of those, and on and on and on. And wow, this one is better at long range, so you can hear things better that are farther away. And this one's better at close range. This one has a larger sound. It booms more. It's more booming. And this one's more plinky. So it's a lot like guns. So if you don't know me, which most of you don't, I'm also a gun guy, also into guns, have been my whole life. So I'm sort of seeing the similarities with starting this podcast and selecting equipment and upgrading equipment and modifying equipment and doing this and doing that, trading equipment. It's a lot like guns. It's a lot like my guns. Because you're constantly changing them, you're constantly upgrading them, you're trading them for other guns, you're saving up to buy a bigger gun, you're going to sell these other 2 guns so you could buy this one gun you really want. That's exactly what I'm doing with my audio equipment. It's exactly it. So welcome to the Marshall Hart Podcast eBay store, because that's essentially what we're doing, like I said before. And it's actually kind of going pretty well. So I might be better at eBay than I am at podcasting. And but unfortunately, I keep selling things I don't need and then using the money to buy audio equipment, because they don't sell guns on eBay. It's a good thing they don't sell guns on eBay, because I would be buying guns and audio equipment. And nobody would be happy with my choices. And there's always a critic, just like with your guns. If you post a gun video, people are like, oh, why you got that Sig Romeo optic on that rifle? Or that's not a Glock. You know, people are the same way about audio equipment. Luckily, none of the audiophiles have found my podcast and have been criticizing me. Like, oh my God, your noise floor is terrible. Or, things like that. You're a little too sibilant. You need to fix that. Sibilance. You guys don't know what that means. I didn't know what that meant until about 2 weeks ago. But it's your S sounds, your S's. And they make a de-esser plug-in that you can, just mellow it out. But it's fun. I'm still on the hunt for the Goldilocks input, so that the sound going into the recording is as good as it can possibly be, so that you don't have to do anything to it afterward, even though I don't do anything to it afterward most of the time anyway. So obviously I'm not too concerned with that, but that has become the obsession, is the Goldilocks input. You want the sound going in to be great, so that when it shows up on the recording, it'll be good. And if you do have to do any post-processing, it'll already be good, and probably good enough, which is another thing that I'm assuming other people fall into these pitfalls, and about not understanding that it's probably good enough, probably already. And you don't need multiple cameras, and you don't need several audio interfaces to experiment with, and something like 17 microphones. And anyway, you're going to sell them back on eBay because you bought them used, so it's okay. But anyway, through all of that, at this point, I think I've settled on 3 microphones, so the other ones are probably going to go back. And it's simple, because they were microphones everyone would have told me that I should have tried anyway. This is the SM57. If you want to look at it, it's kind of dark, but the SM57, and this is the SM57 specific pop filter, because it doesn't have one on it at all, because it's typically used for recording instruments. You can put it right up to to a drum and beat on the drum, and this will record it. And but people also use it for voice occasionally. I mentioned before that that's the microphone that's used during presidential addresses. Why they settled on that one, I don't know, but apparently, it is just never going to change. It's been the same for 50 years. The Rode Pod mic, of course, the beautiful and gorgeous Rode Pod mic, that is going to stay in the arsenal, and I've got several pop filters for it now, all that color the sound slightly, so it's interesting. But and this one is the Shure SM58, and it's, there's a trend. This is a Shure microphone, and this one's a Shure microphone, and they're just the workhorse microphones of the audio industry, and apparently everyone has them. And that's why, because they produce great sound right out of the box. You don't have to do much. On the other ones, everybody has this obsession with the SM7B sound, because that's what they use on Rogan, and that's what so many podcasters and influencers and content creators use. And it's, a $400 microphone, or if you buy the one that has an amplifier built into it, it's a $600 microphone. They do make microphones that run up into the thousands of dollars, but those are the ones that are typically used for very, very high-end studio recording, like for Celine Dion or someone. I'm sure Snoop Dogg never used one. He was fine with whatever. But anyhow, they're the microphones of this SM58. Everybody would have said, oh, you can't go wrong with an SM58. And they're pretty much right. It's the sound quality going in. What I was doing was I was getting into this trend where everybody wants to modify the equalization on the microphones to make them sound more like the SM7B because of the obsession with the SM7B. And there are certain ways you can do the equalization to make other microphones sound similar. And so I stopped doing that. What's the point? This is an SM58. I don't need it to sound like an SM7B because an SM58 sounds fine. The only thing I needed to do was equalize the parts of my voice that I don't like. Because look at the size of this nose. I have kind of a nasally kind of thing sometimes if I don't, pay attention to my diction and enunciate my words properly. I get kind of like a because I have a giant nose. What are you going to do? So there is some equalization, and everybody's adding more bass to their stuff. And if I do that, it sounds like I'm talking through a pillow or something. And it's just not good. So I learned to equalize based on my voice and my needs to make it sound the best. And you also have to accommodate for, room noise, cats, and everything else. I have no idea what that cat's doing right now. I'm not going to put a camera on it. Vincent's weird. He's very weird. It's a weird cat. Anyhow, I just started equalizing things for my voice so that it would sound fine. And even if my voice doesn't sound great, it's my voice, so you can't really change that and make me sound like someone else. Anyhow, it's been a fun hobby, and I'm enjoying it. I'm going to keep doing it, even with all 4 listeners. If they all, flee, if they all turn on me, I'm going to keep doing the thing and maybe do some. But I don't know if I'll be doing the video part of it the whole time. I have thought about just going to an audio format like most people who do podcasts, but I also like doing the videos. I think it's fun. I like doing video stuff. But, I'm not going to go buy 6 4K cameras and do all that stuff. And it's just not going to happen. So you're just going to have to deal with these, low-end webcams. But, they're HD. It's just not 4K. And, but, that when I do a video, the people who are just listening are missing out because I sometimes don't think about people who are listening to the show just through the audio. So when I hold something up to the camera and I go, oh, hey, look at this. They have no idea what I'm doing. And I should probably stop doing that or maybe explain it better. So people aren't like, what's he doing? No, I got to go look at the YouTube video. What am I going to do from now on? We're at 23 and a half minutes I've been talking. So apparently a 15-minute time limit just wasn't good for me. Maybe that's why I fled so quickly. I could have paid. I could have done whatever I wanted. I could have, but I don't know. I didn't feel like doing that. So, yeah. Apparently I can just keep talking and talking and talking. But I'm going to really reals this time, start having topics that I want to discuss. There are a bunch of them. And lately, I've just been running in here and plopping down and starting to talk because I want to do the podcast and I want to keep everybody abreast of my condition and my recovery and how it's going. But I've been so busy with other things lately, I haven't had time to actually plan and script or, arrange anything. I haven't even had time to finish editing Ed's interview. I put the first 45 minutes or so of it up, But there's the 2 other segments of his that need to be put together and posted. I just haven't had time to do it, so I feel like I'm cheating you guys a little bit, but I'm going to have to sit down and put a list together of this is the show we're doing, and then stay on topic. I get off topic because I like to go off on tangents about different things. But I hope everyone else is doing fine. Keep me posted on your health. I'm doing okay. I feel okay. Chest pressure, still. Occasional nausea, still. But I feel good. And I'll end this episode by saying that I think one of the biggest issues I'm dealing with recovering from a heart attack or multiple heart attacks or whatever it was, I think the way it impacted me the most was probably fear. And so now that you know what your body is capable of turning on you like that, you kind of have to assume that it could do it again at any moment. And so that anxiety of, should I be doing this thing that I'm doing right now? Am I putting too much pressure on my heart? Am I asking my body to do too much right now? Am I going to strain too much? Am I doing this or doing that? And of course, as a guy, and probably a lot of women as well, you're like, I'm capable of doing this. I don't, need to take it easy. I don't need to sit down and rest. And I can pick up this giant box by myself. So now you think about it. I think about it now. And I look at it and I go, if I pick this up and carry it 50 yards over to where it needs to be, am I going to kill myself? Is my heart going to give out on me? I think the only thing that gives me hope is that my heart seems fine. It's pumping the way it's supposed to be pumping. It's pumping at the rate it's supposed to pump. It's pumping at the quantity of blood through it that it's supposed to be. I don't have any of those signs or symptoms of what we would call heart failure, where your heart slowly stops being as efficient as it once was. I don't have that. So I know my heart is healthy. It was the flow of blood getting into my heart that was bad. So the heart was being starved of oxygen. And so I think that helps me a lot, because I can go, oh no, my heart rate being up probably isn't that big of a risk right now, because my heart is fine. It's the blood. So as long as those stents do their job and keep my arteries open, so that my heart can get that oxygen-rich blood that it needs, I should be okay. But occasionally I will say, I stop and I think about it first. I'm like, wow, am I really going to carry that thing? Am I going to try to carry 4 of those? And eventually I say, yes, I'm just going to do that. But, you do think about it. So it gives me pause. Is that what you would say? Something like that. Anyway, I will talk to everyone else soon. And I'll keep you posted probably tomorrow. And I'll have a topic, probably not tomorrow. But I don't know, let's give myself a timeline. I'll come up with a timeline of when we're going to actually have show topics. And I still have people that I need to interview, I need to have on the show. And we just haven't made the time to make that happen. And all these other things that have come up out of the blue have really gotten in the way of trying to do those things. So we'll get that worked out, though. And I'm grateful for everybody who has stuck around and been watching or listening to this, weird show about a guy who had a heart attack. But eventually, we're going to get into the physical aspects of it. And I want to do a show. I want to do an episode. Maybe that's what I'll do tomorrow. Or maybe I'll do it later tonight when I have time. I just want to do a show about martial arts myself, how I feel about them, how I got into them, my philosophies on things, because, this is I'm sure a lot of the people who are listening are fellow martial artists who are concerned about their health or the health of others. And so, this being the Martial Heart podcast, I think it would be fun. I could talk about my philosophy on martial arts and get other people's opinions, because I tend to be a little old school and a little probably esoteric. But we'll discuss it maybe next time. So, all right, everybody, take care of yourselves. I'm going to hit this outro thing. And the other day I hit it and didn't realize that my microphone was not part of this scene. So I shut it off. And I was talking, but nobody could hear me. So have a good night. Enjoy the rest of your week. Happy Monday. Get out there. Get some exercise. Eat right. Take care of yourself. Take care of everybody else. Bye-bye.